We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
Yo, Pete Hegseth, this one's specially for you. Tattoo covered clown with that cafe ink on your arm, think you a Crusader? Nah.
This is Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's Secretary of War. A key feature of Hegseth's Pentagon briefings and military messaging has become his religious language, including this fake Bible verse from Pulp Fiction movie.
And I will strike down upon thee with great
Vengeance and furious anger, those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother.
He delivered that line during a Christian worship service inside the Pentagon, just as war with Iran was escalating. Now, the prayer was so shocking that it got a direct response from Pope Leo himself on Palm Sunday.
Jesus, King of Peace, who rejects war, whom no one can use to justify war. He does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but rejects them, saying, "Even though you make many prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are full of blood."
This rhetoric reflects a broader Christian nationalist worldview, staunch support for Israel, Crusader symbolism, and Hegseth's framing of Islam and Iran as threats to the West. And as Defense Secretary, Hegseth has moved quickly to reshape the Pentagon, firing senior officials, targeting what he calls woke military culture, and fronting America's expanding war with Iran. So who is Pete Hegseth? Is he blurring the line between church and state? And how much is his worldview shaping America's wars? Before the Pentagon, Hegseth was one of the faces of Fox News, where he advocated for a conservative cultural shift in the US military. The Princeton and Harvard graduate had served in Iraq and Afghanistan and built a career attacking what he called woke ideology in the military and a return to warrior culture.
The deeper question is, how did the military allow itself to go woke? Meritocracy and lethality, of excellence, of no excuses, of equality and unity, not equity and diversity is ours. The dumbest phrase on planet Earth in the military is our diversity is our strength.
But despite his growing influence on the American right and his conservative activism, Hegseth had little experience in government beyond an unsuccessful 2012 run for the Republican Senate nomination in Minnesota. And yet, even with his lack of experience and the controversy surrounding allegations of sexual misconduct and alcohol abuse, Trump nominated him to lead the Pentagon. Hegseth was narrowly confirmed as Defense Secretary in January 2025 after Vice President J.D. Vance cast the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. And quickly, he became one of the most powerful figures in Trump's cabinet. Since taking office, Hegseth has moved to reshape the Pentagon drastically. He rolled back diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives across the military and removed several senior officials. Among them was Army Chief of Staff General Randy George, who was reportedly removed after he refused to obey Hegseth's instructions to strike 4 officers, 2 black men and 2 women, from a list of prospective promotions.
You live in a civilization where the Bible was the basis of all of it. Maybe instead of scoffing at it, you open up a history book and understand that the Bible and Judeo-Christian values built the greatest civilization ever to exist.
It's undeniable. And when you try to strip away religion, inevitably, Charlie, they replace it with another one.
Now, Christianity has become a defining feature of Pete Hegseth's public image. He's part of a small and obscure strand of evangelical Calvinism that teaches that everything that happens is part of God's will, from the election of Donald Trump to war with Iran. The movement is tied to a broader vision, sometimes referred to as global Christendom, the belief that society and government should ultimately be governed by biblical law. One of the most influential figures in this movement is Pastor Doug Wilson. He's a Christian nationalist preacher who promotes biblical patriarchy and theocracy, has defended slavery, and believes the government should be subordinate to Christianity. Now, despite his extreme views, Hegseth has praised Wilson and invited him to preach at the Pentagon. Hegseth himself has Crusader-themed tattoos, one of the Jerusalem cross and another bearing the phrase Deus Vult, Latin for God wills it. The slogan is linked to the medieval Crusades, but in recent years has also become associated with parts of the far right, appearing during the January 6 Capitol riots and among some extremist groups. Hegseth has denied any extremist association. But the tattoos reportedly became controversial enough that they led to him being removed from National Guard duties during Joe Biden's 2021 inauguration. And those weren't the only tattoos that caused controversy. Hegseth's tattoo with kafir, meaning non-believer in Arabic, led to accusations of Islamophobia from civil rights groups and critics. Over the years, Hegseth has repeatedly described Islam as a political and military threat. In his 2020 book, American Crusade, he called Islam an enemy of the West and advocated for what he described as an American crusade against domestic and international enemies. Many commentators have said that this rhetoric has fed into Hegseth's position on Iran and has left many questioning whether the US attacks are part of a war or a crusade.
Because of decisive military action, President Trump created the conditions to end the war, decimating, choose your word, obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities.
Hegseth's staunch support for Israel has gone hand in hand with his hardline stance on Iran, backing a far more aggressive US military posture and escalation against the country. He's also defended American military actions during the war, including after a reportedly US strike on a girls' school in MEELive, which killed 120 children. During a congressional budget hearing on the war, Hegseth faced intense questioning from Democratic lawmakers over the civilian death toll, the economic impact of the conflict, and the growing financial costs to the US. By April 2026, Pentagon officials estimated that American operations in the war had already cost more than $25 billion. Hegseth was also challenged over his request for a nearly $1.5 trillion military budget as the cost of the war continued to rise.
How much did it cost American taxpayers in terms of the strike to the Iranian school where kids were killed?
As I've said, that unfortunate situation remains under investigation.
Do you know how much it will cost Americans in terms of their increased cost in gas and food over the next year because of the Iran war?
I would simply ask you what the cost is of an Iranian nuclear bomb.
I'm going to give you...
As America's war with Iran expands, so too do questions about the ideology driving it, and the role Pete Hegseth is playing in shaping America's new era of militarism.